Welcome to Mr. Chalk's Revision Tips. In this video, we will look at
alkanes, cracking alkanes and alkenes. So, alkanes are saturated hydrocarbons. This means that their carbon atoms are all joined together by single bonds. This makes them relatively unreactive, apart from with the reaction with oxygen in air, which is called combustion. So, all hydrocarbons are made of hydrogen and carbon atoms. So cracking allows large hydrocarbon molecules to be broken down into smaller, more useful hydrocarbon molecules. Fractions containing large hydrocarbon molecules are vaporized and passed over a hot catalyst that breaks the chemical bonds and forms smaller ones. So we're looking at how the small and large hydrocarbon molecules in crude oil are separated. It will be from fractional distillation. If we're looking at what is the main differences between alkanes and alkenes, alkenes have at least one double bond. And what conditions are needed for cracking to take place? It needs to be done at a high temperature and a catalyst needs to be used. So, the physical process starts off with needing long chain hydrocarbons that are heated until they turn into a vapor. This feedstock is then pumped into the reaction vessel. A catalyst of zeolite crystals is added, so this lowers the temperature needed to break down the hydrocarbons. The long chain hydrocarbons molecules are broken down into smaller ones, so this reaction is called cracking. So the cracked hydrocarbons now contain double bonds. The mixture of cracked molecules is pumped into a fractional distillation column where they can be separated out. So during the reaction, the catalyst becomes coated in carbon, so it's pumped into a regenerator where the carbon is burnt off. So the clean catalyst then flows back into the reaction vessel so it can be reused. So we're looking at describing the conditions. It needs to be at a high temperature, somewhere between 300 and 900 degrees, at a relatively high pressure, and a catalyst is needed. And if we're suggesting why air must not enter the reaction, it would be because air would react with the hydrocarbons and would cause them to burn rather than break apart. So the diagram shows an apparatus that can be used to carry out cracking reactions in the lab. So if we're looking at why aluminium oxide is used or broken porcelain is used, that's because the aluminium oxide or porcelain acts as a catalyst to speed up the reaction. So cracking involves thermal decomposition. If we're looking at what thermal decomposition means, it just means breaking a chemical down by heating it up. In which test tube would we find the smaller hydrocarbon molecules? That would be test tube B, because the gaseous hydrocarbons are shorter in length. The demand is how much of a fraction customers want to buy. Fractional distillation of crude oil usually produces more of the larger hydrocarbons than can be sold and less of the smaller hydrocarbons that customers want. So smaller hydrocarbons such as petrol are more useful as fuels than larger hydrocarbons are. So we're looking at explaining why cracking is used in the oil industry. That's because it allows us to break down large molecules into smaller ones. It allows us to go and make alkenes. So large hydrocarbon molecules do not ignite easily and are less volatile, so if we go and crack them down into smaller ones, that makes them more flammable and they can be used as fuels. Alkenes can also be used to make polymers. So alkanes and alkenes are both from different homologous series. So alkanes are saturated, their carbon atoms are only joined by single bonds, whereas alkenes are unsaturated and contain at least one double bond. So as a result, alkenes are more reactive than alkanes. Alkenes can take part in reactions that alkanes can't. So for example, they can take part in polymerization reactions. Alkenes will react with bromine water and turn it from an orange-brown colour to colourless. So this is one way to test to see if a double bond is present in the molecule.
Thanks for watching.